The Israeli Air Force has called off a planned strike on the home of a Palestinian militant after hundreds of people gathered at the house to act as a human shield. A warning had been given to the militant in northern Gaza to warn him of an impending attack. But in an unprecedented show of defiance, friends and neighbours gathered to thwart it. Alan Johnston reports from Gaza.
Defying the Israeli Air Force, they were putting themselves in the line of fire. With their physical presence, they shielded this house and warded off an attack. The Israelis frequently strike at the homes of their militant enemies in Gaza. Sometimes they say they're targeting stockpiles of weapons, but they often give a telephone warning of the coming attack. The occupants of the house have a few minutes to flee, and so civilian casualties are kept down. But this time, the homeowner refused to run. He was a commander in a group called the Popular Resistance Committees, and he called on his supporters, friends and neighbours to help defend his house. And they came in large numbers. If the Israelis attacked, they would have killed or wounded many civilians. It was an unprecedented act of Palestinian defiance in the face of this particular Israeli strategy, the destruction of homes from the air. It was a small victory for a people who have endured countless defeats at Israel's hands. We've seen the Israelis often target the homes of militant leaders here. The missiles destroy houses, and the Israelis say are used to store weapons. Often the Air Force telephones a warning 10 minutes before the strike, allowing the occupants to escape and so keeping down civilian casualties. But right now, a commander of an organisation called the Popular Resistance Committees is defying what he says was a warning to get out of his home. Instead of leaving, he called from a nearby mosque for relatives, friends, supporters to come and crowd into the house and defend it basically with their bodies.
Why do you think the Israeli military backed down in this particular confrontation?
Well, it became very clear that as soon as those crowds had begun to gather around the house, if they followed through with their attack, there would have been large numbers of casualties. And bear in mind too, only less than a week ago, we had that incident in the town of Beit Hanoun where what the Israelis said was a misguided artillery barrage, a tragic mistake as they put it, led to the deaths of nearly 20 Palestinians, mostly women and children, some of them killed as they slept as shells rained down on their homes. There was huge international condemnation of Israel for that, and obviously Israel would not have been wise to cause a great many casualties tonight in Jabalia in those circumstances.
And this is a small victory for the Palestinians, but overall the situation in Gaza is pretty dire for them, isn't it?
It is indeed. The Palestinians are under continual and at times intense military pressure. The Israelis have control of the air and make raids on the ground, continually fire artillery shells into open areas. The Israeli reasoning, of course, is that the militants here in Gaza fire rockets from Gaza into the towns and villages of southern Israel in a quite random way into civilian areas. The militants saying that they're hitting back for Israeli raids, arrests and so on.